All right, look around you for just a second. In this explainer of Earth's origins, we're going to completely change how you view our world. We're so incredibly used to the modern setup, the blue oceans, the green forests, the solid ground beneath our feet. But to truly understand how we got here, I want you to mentally strip all of that away. Seriously, erase the trees, completely boil away the oceans, and shatter the ground. We are going on a cinematic, highly dramatic journey back in time about 4.5 billion years ago to reveal our planet's incredibly fiery, violent beginnings.
Okay, let's dive into this. Plunging straight into reality 4.5 billion years ago, right at the dawn of our solar system, our planet was absolutely unrecognizable. I mean, there were no land masses, no oceans, definitely no breathable air. It was a pure hellscape of molten lava. Just a violent, churning, boiling reality where the entire surface was literally fluid fire. But how did this incredible inferno even start? Well, the story actually begins before the Earth even existed, way out in a gigantic cloud of gas and cosmic dust. According to our sources, a distant star slowly lost its energy and eventually underwent a massive explosion. That explosion sent shockwaves ripping through space, which compressed the surrounding dust clouds. And as that dust compressed, gravity took over. It started pulling massive amounts of hydrogen and helium into the center, building up immense pressure until, boom! Around 4.5 billion years ago, the lights went on. Our sun ignited through nuclear fusion. And in the immediate aftermath, that same gravitational force began sweeping up the remaining space debris, smashing rocks and dust together to form heavy asteroids. Amidst all that chaotic debris orbiting our newly formed sun, a very specific clump of rock and metal was being drawn together. This was our proto-Earth, what scientists call a planetesimal. It's exactly what it sounds like. Essentially, a planet that just isn't quite fully baked yet. Gravity acted as the ultimate cosmic sculptor here, continuously pulling this massive, wandering clump of space rubble together into a single, growing body. And when I say it wasn't fully baked, I mean it was completely boiling over. Just look at this staggering number. Earth at this stage was around 8,500 degrees Celsius. Try to wrap your mind around that kind of heat. At 8,500 degrees, there is absolutely no solid land. There's only a massive, churning sphere of completely molten lava and rock. It was an absolute inferno where literally every heavy metal and mineral was liquid. Now, what's really interesting about this whole setup is the macro-level sorting process that happened because of this liquid state. Because the Earth was entirely molten, it allowed gravity to pull the entire mass into a relatively perfect sphere. But more importantly, all the materials inside started to separate based on their weight. The incredibly heavy radioactive elements, along with massive amounts of liquid iron and even original gold, literally sank all the way down to the center to forge the Earth's inner core. Meanwhile, the lighter rocky material sort of bubbled up to the top, eventually destined to form the surface. So the crucial point is that this hellish internal heat and the sinking of those heavy metals were actually doing us a massive favor. That dense churning core of liquid iron became a giant dynamo. It generated Earth's magnetic field. Without this invisible shield, the lethal solar winds continuously blasting from the young sun would have completely stripped away any atmosphere we ever tried to build. So while the surface was a completely hostile nightmare, the deep interior was busy building the essential armor that future life would absolutely depend on. But, our young planet's survival wasn't exactly guaranteed just yet. We have to remember that the early solar system was an incredibly crowded, chaotic neighborhood. Huge planetary bodies and asteroids were just ping-ponging around out there. Which brings us to a terrifying question. What happens when two massive planets end up sharing the exact same orbital path around the sun? This wasn't some hypothetical scenario. Our glowing magma ball of a proto-Earth had a neighbor. Meet Theia. Theia was a massive rogue planet roughly the size of Mars, and it was sharing our exact orbital path around the young sun. When you contrast these two bodies, you really realize the sheer scale of the conflict that was looming. You have Earth growing larger and its gravitational pull getting stronger, and Theia, massive enough to be a planet in its own right, caught in the exact same lane. It was a fatal attraction. Because they were in the same orbit, Earth's own growing gravity essentially sealed its fate. It exerted a constant, irresistible pull on Theia. Over millions of years, the tension crept up as this Mars-sized neighbor was relentlessly drawn closer and closer. It wasn't a sudden ambush, right? It was a slow-motion, inevitable cosmic collision just waiting to happen. And then, the inevitable happened. Theia plowed directly into our future home.
The sheer scale of this impact is almost unimaginable. Our sources note that it hit with a world-shattering energy equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs detonating all at once. Theia was instantly obliterated, and the collision was so unspeakably violent that it literally knocked the entire Earth right off its axis.
Let's see how this builds into the aftermath, because the collision actually built something beautiful. As Theia violently impacted Earth, trillions of tons of the Earth's crust and Theia's remains were blasted straight into space. This created a massive, glowing ring of magma and particles orbiting around our shattered planet. But once again, gravity stepped in to bring order to the chaos. It began pulling all of those superheated orbiting particles together, condensing that massive debris ring until it formed a brand new moon-sized ball of magma. That's right, this is exactly how we got our moon.
And this brilliantly illustrates the foundation of the world we know today. Think about it. Earth was left shattered, but that violent tilt off its axis, that gave us the changing seasons we experience right now. As the heavy bombardment of asteroids continued, many of them delivering the precious water that would eventually condense into our oceans, our planet began to slowly cool beneath the glow of its brand new lunar companion. The stage was finally being set.
It leaves us with a truly profound thought to consider. We so often think of destruction as the end of things, but looking at the 8,500-degree molten lava, the heavy metals sinking to form a magnetic shield, and a terrifying Mars-sized planet literally shattering our world to create the moon, you have to wonder, was this ultimate cataclysm of destruction actually the precise, necessary catalyst for all life? Without the violent forge of our early solar system, the Earth as we know it simply wouldn't exist. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through our planet's fiery origins. Keep wondering and keep looking up.